Peace. Once again, you know, we chilling. Now we chilling with KRS-One, the infamous KRS-One.
Right.
We caught up with him, of course, on G. Simone's video shoot for the music of the 90s.
Right.
Now, this must be like a project that's, I mean, you're working on it. You produced it. I think are you directing a video as well? So how long?
So you're pretty busy with this single.
I'm quiet.
Yeah, actually, this is a song called Music for the 90s, and I produced it in conjunction with another gentleman by the name of Douglas Jones.
From Philly.
From Philly. Cool. And he basically did the beat and music. I mixed it, made it sound like what you hear. Mm-hmm. And pretty much we're promoting it out of Front Page Entertainment, and it's the bomb.
Mm-hmm. So how many tracks on the album did you do? Did you produce? You executive or you?
Both executive produce as well as produce. It's let me see. It's like it's like a 12-cut album, and I did like 9 cuts.
Oh, cool.
You know, Kid Capri came in for a cut. And this guy named Ron Carter came in for a couple of cuts, some ballads, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You know, I really can't taste that. But it's cool stuff, though, on the album. My forte really is producing hip-hop and reggae.
You got a couple of cameos on this first single also.
Yeah, this is, as a matter of fact, actually I have another cameo on The Changes is another song. We're talking about songs that you guys can't even play yet. It's a song called Changes, which if becomes a single, we did a single remix, which myself and Mad Lion is featured on that record. But I guess this cameo launches it all off,
right.
You know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so that's cool. The track is definitely fat. We were listening to it, you know. Gee, it's real fat.
Thank you.
Now, apart from this, you know, we gotta hit you up for some other questions.
Okay, of course.
Now, let's talk about the Source Awards. What did you think?
Total confusion, but necessary. Mm-hmm. I thought it was necessary because, you know, I mean, we all might not agree with the Source magazine being the ones to do it, but it was done. And the big picture is that it should be done every year, whether it be the Source, whether it be Russell, whether it be Front Page, whether it be whoever, Fox, television, whoever does it needs to do it.
The video source.
The video source, right, exactly. Needs to do it every year. It needs to come out in that fashion because, you know, as youth grow up, they are going to grow up with hip-hop now. We take it for granted because we've been in it so long, but youth that is growing up now is going to, you know, it's a part of like, you know, there was a time when you can actually say, no, I don't listen to hip-hop. You know, I used to meet people that said, like, no, I don't listen to hip-hop. There's still people out that say, no, I don't listen to hip-hop. But the youth that's growing up now, it's like hip-hop, reggae, alternative.
Right.
It's like you're in one of those brackets or all three.
Yeah.
So it's like we're growing up with it. And the Source Awards is definitely a necessary thing. A hip-hop award show is definitely an every year thing. It's necessary. It needs to happen.
How did you said it was confusion.
Yeah, it was massive confusion. I mean, the first one is always confusion. It was very poorly organized, and, you know, we're getting a whole bunch of rap artists like that together. Of course, you know, there had to be some static. But it was cool. Yeah, it was just cool. And when it was all said and done and the smoke cleared, it was cool.
Yeah. So, you know, talking about rap, what do you think about the way hip-hop is going now? Yeah. I mean, cause like me, you've been around since its inception. Right. So now now are the days of gangster rap.
Yeah.
And now we even have, what is that Flatliners and Gravediggers do?
Yeah.
Horror rap.
Yeah.
No, it's horrorcore.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Horrorcore.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
Oh,
They
that's
label it horrorcore.
And they have the scary music in the background and stuff.
Right.
So, you know, what do you think about the way it's evolved?
Well, you know, I think expression is expression, but there should be balance. And I think for as many kids that's pushing the devil, you should also push many kids that's pushing God, and not the conventional version of God that you're used to seeing or hearing. The new version of God, actually the goddess, the inclusion of femininity as a part of our universality is a definite must. But there's no balance. So what you'll get in a society like America is the worship of only the negative. Or as pointed out on one of my singles coming up on a new album, only the negative.
And speaking of femininity,
we gotta
TOT
get
and I wanted to really thank you because throughout your career, you never degraded women. And, you know, a lot of artists coming out today are doing that. And we want to thank you for that. And what do you think about artists that are doing that?
Well,
Do you think it's degradation at all?
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's degradation. I think, because see, the bottom line to it all is that a recording artist is really a jobless youth, or a jobless youth. That's it, really. They picked up the mic, and this happens to be how they're making money. You know, if the irony to it all is that if you pick up the microphone and you're be this and ho that and this, that, and the other, and you sell 10 million records, then it's not degradation. It's actually art. If somebody picks up the mic and says, learn your culture, know who you are, respect yourself, and you go,
Then
that's degradation. That's more the positive
right.
becomes the negative, and the negative becomes more the positive. You got to look at the reality of the society you're living in. If this was an intellectual utopia or a civilization, then of course, yes, it would be degradation. But this is a barbaric, technological society. So in that kind of society, this kind of music is totally acceptable. I still would cry out for balance. If you play the Ice Cubes, or the early Ice Cubes, NWA, the Snoop Dogg, the Dr. Dre, what's the other guy, Too Short, and these kind of musics, fine, play them all day and all night, but have a balance of music. Play a little PE, play KRS-ONE, play X-Clan, The Coop, All Righteous Teachers, etc., etc. Just balance it off.
The voice of hip-hop is getting louder. I mean, you know, how do you think hip-hop artists can contribute to the survival of our youth?
Well, first they got to understand that they are hip-hop. There's no real such thing as I'm doing hip-hop or I'm trying to be a hip-hop artist. The first thing they got to say is that I am hip-hop, like I always say. I am hip-hop. I'm not doing it. I am it. Then you just take responsibility for your actions because you've realized or come to the realization that you are the art. You're not an artist. You are the art. African youth in the world have always been the art. We're not artists. The other Europeans are artists. And also I should say artists in the sense, whereas if you take things like music, sculpture, painting, politics, medicine, et cetera, if you take what Europe or Asia to a certain degree, even India, well, you can even say that's Asia. If you take what Europe has created in the world, if we mimic that, then we are artists to them, and they are their art.
I see.
But when it comes to things like music, which originated out of Africa, art, sculpture, medicine, these sciences, we are not doing them, we are them. And everyone else in the world is mimicking us. They become doctors, politicians, artists, et cetera, et cetera. We've lost contact with self. So we start to mimic what Massa said, and Massa with an A, M-A-S-S-A. We mimic what Massa is. So Massa said he was an artist because he knew he wasn't the art. So we say we're artists. But we're not artists. We are the art. And when we come to that realization, we can push not only hip-hop, but our whole situation forward. You know.
Now, everybody knows that KRS-ONE can get deep.
Yeah.
When you write, do you say, "Oh no, that might be a little too deep"? Do you ever go, "No, I don't know if I can. I don't know if they're ready for that yet"?
Right.
No, it happens, but I don't necessarily say it. The people around me might say it. I like to take the opinions of the people around me, and especially when it comes to my music. You know, I like to not, you know, they will say, you know, Chris, don't put that out or whatever, but I have my decision made up what I'm going to put out already. Somebody else might say, hey, that's a little too hardcore. Maybe you need to chill. I just want to hear it. It might deter me from doing it. It might not, but I want to hear it. What actually deters me is my record company. Jive Records will say, oh, we can't sell that. And then, you know, either I have to fight, reword it, or something like that. When it gets into money, then it's a totally different situation. Me, once I wrote it, I want to put it out, you know, and I really write freestyles. I really don't write albums. I just write records for live. I'm really a live recording artist. I'm not really, you know, I really don't record albums. It's sort of like I just write for when I'm on the mic, you know, in a school, chilling, trying to act cool because I'm illin'. I'm on the microphone with the camera in my face, you know. It's like I just try to write for the moment, you know, and if education is needed for the moment, then that's what I'll write. If you know, I could come up with...
Is that like in the beginning, KRS-ONE in the early years and KRS-ONE now?
Right.
You know, there's a difference.
Only an expression. The records that were put out were strategically put out because the first record I wrote was Stop the Violence. First record.
Really?
There was a record called Advance and another record called Stop the Violence. And Advance was talking about nuclear war, and Stop the Violence was talking about Stop the Violence in hip-hop, Y.O.
I remember.
But I couldn't sell it. I went to every record company and they didn't want to hear it. So I went to a little distributor, and we got caught up in this MC Shan battle.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to put all my conscious stuff to the side.
Leave my Queens people alone.
Okay. So, you know, I had to put the consciousness aside and basically get into this battle.
Yeah.
So when I got into this South Bronx, I thought it would just be South Bronx, and that was it. I tried to even say in there, I am a teacher. Others are kings. That's the title. I tried to even say in that. This is not really what this is one style, you know. I got others, but this is a pebble out of the whole bold situation. Nobody caught that. They said, oh, Chris. Oh, he took out MC Shan. Oh, that's all they heard. But then what happened is MC Shan answered me, and it drew me further into this. So The Bridge Is Over came out. And which I just went all out. It just wasn't about, I just was all out. But then the news media started saying, well, Boogie Down Productions, yeah, they're all right, but they're just a battling group. They can't really make records. So then we put out Criminal Minded, which after we gained this hardcore battling, hardcore audience, we couldn't come out with Stop the Violence or any of my stuff that I had wrote. So I said, well, let me write for this audience. And I wrote an album for them to have forever. That's their album. And the next album, By All Means Necessary, My Philosophy was written and done before Scott was killed. But it just so happened, so was Stop the Violence. So was the poem Necessary. But it just so happened that Scott was killed in between the transition of Criminal Minded to By All Means Necessary. So I just went on and put those records on the album, and then everyone said, oh, Chris is conscious now. Wow.
Now
but
suddenly,
you know, but
you know,
it helped the audience that I had. It sort of, now that I had them, it made them think.
Right.
It made them go, oh, wow, we actually can learn
Yeah.
on a hardcore level
Yeah.
from this guy who